And a very warm welcome to today's edition of Wellbeing Wisdom. I'm really glad you could join me on this fabulously warm, sunny morning. It's going to be a hot one today. Got a question for you just to get the grey matter working. Do you believe in life on other worlds, extraterrestrial life? It's an intriguing question, and it's something that cropped up in a conversation we were having quite recently, because there's something about the idea that we can somehow understand the vastness of the cosmos and come to conclusions that perhaps tells us a lot about the way that we perceive the world, the way we perceive reality. Here are a couple of simple ideas just to kick off the conversation. First of all, the distances involved just within the scale of our own solar system are just too vast to imagine. We talk about numbers, we use the language of mathematics to describe things, but the scale is simply beyond anything we could possibly experience. When we expand these concepts to taking perhaps the vastness of our own galaxy, the numbers, the scale, the distance, we really don't have the means to visualize what we're talking about. It's very difficult for us to be able to see or imagine things that are beyond the range of our experience. So when we talk about the vastness of the cosmos, then we try to imprint upon this unimaginable, huge edifice, way beyond anything we could possibly grasp. We immediately limit the possibilities because of our perception, because of our imagination. And whilst the subject of extraterrestrial life may or may not be relevant, the way that we approach the subject tells us a lot about how we place limitations on what's really possible. We're not here to debate whether extraterrestrial life exists, fascinating though the topic may be, but clearly in such an unimaginably vast space, so much is possible outside the realms of our imagination. But how do those limitations impact on the quality of your life? How do those boundaries impact on your health, on your happiness, on your success, on what you really believe is possible? Do you really have the imagination to see yourself in a much better life, doing the things that really fill your heart with joy, making a difference to yourself and to the world? Do you really believe that you have that potential to express yourself, to find fulfillment? That perhaps is a more useful exploration of how our perception places fences, walls and barriers around the possibilities in our own lives. Clearly, if we have these very familiar barriers around what we think is possible, that's exactly how we're going to live our lives. We will use those barriers to represent the limits of whatever we think is possible. We don't have to erase the barriers, but if we can nudge them a little bit, if we can test them, if we can move just a little bit beyond those limitations, we might discover an astonishing array of possibilities just on the other side of those boundaries. And that's why the conversation has merit. We're not talking about our inability to imagine the vastness of the cosmos. We're talking about our unwillingness and sometimes our inability to understand life beyond the limitations of this narrow, tiny sphere of our own perception. Our imagination creates the limitations for what's really possible. And whilst we're talking, whilst we're talking about what's really possible, I didn't think we'd have a jet flying over so early in the morning. But while we're talking about what's really possible, it can be very healthy, very beneficial for you to perhaps nudge your imagination towards a grander vision of what's really possible for you in terms of those important issues, your relationships, your work, your health, your happiness, how you express yourself, how you find fulfillment in the smallest things, in the tiny details of every life. This is something which I thought would be useful to share, and whilst we're not here to say this is so and this is not so, I think it's pertinent to our quest for fulfillment and a more interesting way of living each day, that we recognize where the boundaries are and examine how we can perhaps expand the range of what's really possible. I'd love to know what you think. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get people right to be talking about extraterrestrial life, but I'm interested in your views and how the boundaries we set impact on the quality of your life. Let me know what you think, and I will look forward to being back with you again very soon. Bye for now.